Thank you so much for coming on the show, Bryan. I hold you in very high esteem when it comes to all things electoral here in California. And so appreciate you spending time and would love a quick intro on who you are and how you landed here.
Absolutely. My name is Bryan Blum. I'm the political director for the California Labor Federation. For those folks that aren't familiar, we're basically the umbrella organization for labor unions in California. We have 1,200 affiliates, locals around the state. And I've been fortunate enough to be the political director at the Labor Federation since 2004. So I guess 18 years now, and seen a lot of changes. I remember when it was back in California politics when we could have Republican governors and it was an open question of who was going to control the legislature, and seeing labor being part of this change about how we have changed California for the better. As political director for the Labor Fed, I've had a chance to sort of see that all happen.
Well, that's some amazing history, and in fact, provides you with a wonderful eye for what's happening at the moment. We just finished with the primary election on Tuesday. It's now Thursday, 5:39 p.m. to be precise. Let's talk about the congressional big swing races that all of the country is looking at, because we have a lot of them here. Katie Porter, first one that jumps into my mind.
Yep.
Although she did really well, right? I think she was way in the high 50s.
Yeah, she did well, and she gets a lot of small dollar contribution, really has sort of become a rock star. Progressive community. So she's well positioned to defend herself with
even though the district was redistricted into more conservative, right?
Absolutely. She's going to need that help and that support because the district was made more conservative.
What do you think there is that this might be a problem?
Yeah, I mean, I would say like it's better to be overly cautious at the outset. And so it is one of these processes where, particularly on some of these high profile congressional races, you're going to see a lot of polling and even public polling sort of looking at these races. And so there'll be a little bit of a sense and a winnowing out of on both sides, which are right now, Republicans and Democrats will have an expanded map of the seats in play. And then they'll go through the summer and sort of judge both on polling, fundraising, narrowing those lists down a little bit. But for sure, for now, I think the Republicans would like nothing better than to knock off Katie Porter. And while I think she's a strong candidate, well positioned, again, the district's changed some. So for now, I don't want to sound a false alarm or sort of say Katie Porter's in trouble because she ran a great campaign. She always runs great campaigns, but the district's changed. And so we just have to be there to support her.
Okay, Mike Levin, the CD49. What do you think there?
Yeah, again, a lot of these Democrats that we're sort of talking about are sort of came in the class of 2018 where we swept.
I know, I remember that. Those were amazing days after the election, right? Yeah.
But the fact that we flipped 7 seats from Republicans means that those 7 seats are probably pretty competitive because they were Republican seats. And so Katie Porter being one of them down in Orange County, and Mike Levin as well, sort of part of Orange County in San Diego. And so I would say he's similar to Katie Porter in that they won seats.
Yeah.
They've really done well with their outreach to constituents and sort of building confidence in a brand for them. And so I do think for the Katie Porters and the Mike Levins of the world that are great candidates, great elected officials, the districts are still competitive.
Yeah.
And the one thing that I think worries all of us is Democratic wave in 2006 and 2008. You saw a Republican wave in 2010, in some ways 2014. Some things that are out of the local elected officials' control, and that is sort of this national mood or national wave. You saw sort of this Democratic wave. We took back the House 2018. So a lot of these races, you see good candidates get washed away by sort of a national tide. And the one danger for Democrats and the Katie Porters and the Mike Levins is sort of a scenario where they lose is, low turnout. I think that is a lack of enthusiasm among the Democratic base and the Democratic base voters. And, in California, the downside of Gavin Newsom cruising to re-election is that there's no top of the ticket race that's getting attention.
That excites people. Right.
And again, downside of the US Senate race, Alex Padilla is going to cruise to re-election. So which is a great thing, but it also means that it's not going to be getting constant news attention and constant at the top of everyone's attention, because that really is what drives people to turn out more than anything else is the top of the ticket.
That's right. Well, maybe with the legislature sending the constitutional amendment on the ballot for reproductive rights that likely would play that role, I imagine.
Yeah, California, when we talk about sort of big statewide top of the ticket things, you raise a good point. Often ballot measures can play that role.
That's right.
We often see way more spending on ballot measure campaigns than you do on candidate races. So that potentially could
Yeah.
be
Yeah.
one of the things that maybe does turn some folks out some of the ballot measures.
All right. So let's see. We're looking upward. I'm just going through the list from the bottom up. Jay Chen, Michelle Steele. That's another one.
This theme, Orange County, that was the major battleground for races in 2018.
Yep.
And it's part of the story of California politics. Orange County going from red, purple, and we're trying to get it to blue. But that just means we're in this period where so many of the competitive battleground races in California are like in Orange County and North San Diego.
Yeah. Yeah. It's like the bullseye. It's the center of the storm here.
That's right.
I don't envy all those organizers in Orange County. That's got to be exhausting.
It is. I could say the Orange County Labor Federation does a great job, and they work with community allies down there. They have a table that they work with community allies, but they have a great mobilization and campaign organization that they put together, labor with the community allies that.
Okay, so actually, who would folks reach out to if they want to get involved in that?
The Orange County Labor Federation, the head down there is a woman named Gloria Alvarado. Luis Salomon is their political person. So they're already part of the work ongoing. So if you're part of a progressive group down there in Orange County, you probably already have seen Luis, or he's been at a meeting you've been at, or Gloria's been at a meeting. But again, don't think of it's just labor, that they do their own thing and we do our own thing.
Yeah.
We only win, and the Orange County Labor Fed has been partnering again with the community groups down there and the Democratic activists down there. So if you're not already going to a meeting where activist groups are together and see Luis, reach out directly to the Labor Federation, Gloria Alvarado or Luis Salomon, and talk about how you want to help keep Orange County moving from red to purple to blue.
Excellent.
There is there's some consideration of whether we have a shot at taking out Ken Calvert.
Okay.
In sort of an inland.
Yes, that was one of those surprise performances on Tuesday. That's correct, right?
Yeah, and the district became a little bit more democratic with redistricting. And so again, I'm not putting that at the top tier, but if we have a chance of unseating a Republican, that might be one that we might not have had in previous years.
Okay, and Calvert, to be clear, we're looking at Palm Springs, San Bernardino High Desert area. Does that sound right?
That's right.
Got it. Okay.
So I'll throw that out there. It's probably not as good a target as Mike Garcia, Congressional District 27. That's sort of the Antelope Valley part of LA County. And it's Christy Smith.
That's right. That's right.
There. She narrowly lost
300 votes, right?
Yeah, narrowly lost in 2020.
Those people who say my vote doesn't count, right?
Exactly. The district has actually become more democratic since 2020 with redistricting. So for sure, like I would say that's, if we're going to pick up a seat in California, it's probably that one. And then there's one other one, the David Valadao seat, in Central Valley, sort of moving to the north.
Yeah.
Where Rudy Salas is going to be the.
That's right. That's right. The current assembly member. That's right. Yeah.
So
I realized I jumped over CD40, Asif Mahmood.
Oh yeah.
Against Young Kim. Yeah.
Yep, absolutely. Again, another Orange County. Asif, I think, is a great candidate. That's another one that is just a battleground for California politics and then a battleground for national politics.
Clearly, folks, I would urge folks who are in the OC area who are motivated, because as we know, control of the House is absolutely as necessary as possible to literally defend democracy right now. These are prime opportunities. We don't need to look to other states. This is right here, right now. This is how we defeat Trumpism in California is these seats. Absolutely. So going back to Christy Smith, how is that the same question where it's the LACLC folks should really reach out and get involved in their existing coalition and tables that they've set?
That's right. The LA Fed, LA County Federation of Labor, has good relationships and has partnered with community groups and allies and have really built a very good electoral framework in LA County. And so again, it's not just labor insular, just among labor, it is labor working with our allies.
Yeah, that's how
LA Fed, being a big example there. And So it's Devin O'Series, the political director for the LA Fed, just to name the name. But yeah, it really is the LA Fed. That's been a key part of pulling together tables and with progressive allies, is right there at tables with progressive allies
Yeah.
for planting boots on the ground. And, you know, and when I sort of talked about a big dynamic deciding these races is going to be turnout. And if we have depressed turnout, we're maybe lose a couple Democratic incumbents and of course, then not flip some of these seats. So it really is labor working with our allies, really to do the ground game.
That's right.
Turnout that's going to be so important
That's
in
right.
the congressional races.
I'm going to link in the show notes the different organizations that people can reach out to, because I know there's a number of different regional advocacy groups that have been doing amazing work, specifically community-based leadership, right? Where we're not sending people and flying them in. These are the leaders in the community. Well, Bryan, I thank you for spending time. Any parting words that you want to share? Because I know between now and November, you're going to be very busy, I'm sure.
Picking up a little bit on that theme and sort of what we ended on, and then a little bit also what I talked about, sort of like it was a very good night for candidates who came out of the labor movement. And to this point of sort of like of authenticity and sort of passion, being able to trump money in a lot of ways. I do think it's a good thing for California. Not only that we have candidates that are looking to run for office because they want to do something, that it's not just a career move. They just don't want to, it's not sort of this traditional, well, like he was a small business person there in the Kiwanis Club, and so I'm going to run for office. Like it is encouraging to me that these candidates who run because they want to accomplish something, they come, whether it's on a particular issue or they come from the labor movement or they come from some progressive or community groups or nonprofit groups, that it's how you run the campaign, but also like finding the right candidate and sort of candidate recruitment. And how do we look within our own ranks? Like for far too long, labor probably was sort of, all right, we'll endorse this.
That's right.
You know, candidate who ran for some other office, and this is just another stepping stone.
That's
and more we've been seeing, all right, we'll have our advocates from within our own ranks.
Exactly.
And they can win, and they are
build
winning.
our own bench. That's right.
I think that's labor's done that. And I think that's also, of course, happening with other nonprofits and community groups. And I think we want to encourage and sort of build
totally do. And we want to fund that, and we want to help train and all of those things. No, you're right, because it has to come from the people. This notion that we're just going to align behind whoever the person who was sitting in the right seat at the right time, it doesn't work. It doesn't inspire. And I think people are pretty done with that, actually.
Right. I agree.
Yeah. Thanks so much, Bryan.
Thanks, Christina.